Hey there, I'm here walking around Vancouver, Canada. Really awesome sunny day here. I've heard that it's supposed to be kind of rainy here or whatever, but not today at least. But I don't know, I'm kind of confused because I don't really get why Canada's like a separate country, because it doesn't really seem like it. Um, like everyone talks the same as Americans, and their money looks a little bit different, but I mean, they drive on the same side of the road. Like everyone is like dressed the same. It just kind of seems like another American city, basically. I have noticed that they have some signs like with words I understand, and then with some weird words that I don't understand. But other than that, like it's really the same. So I think actually it is the same country as the United States, probably. I think it's probably like a big setup. Like when you go over the border and everything, then that's just kind of a sort of a bureaucratic scam where they're like making it seem like you actually are going to a different country, but it's just like set up by the U.S. government. I suspect it's probably because everyone here thinks they're in a different country. And so if they realize that they actually weren't in a different country, then there might be like a revolution or something. And so they're just kind of maintaining that illusion. Like, yeah, it's a different country. It's all basically the same. But, people here are kind of nicer than Americans. And I bet if they realized that they were actually all just Americans, they would probably not be as nice. And, they might actually get like a little more annoyed and frustrated and stuff. So I think like this government that they have here in Canada is actually just like a mock government set up by the United States, and then they gave it this fancy sounding thing, the prime minister. Like that sounds different. Like, ooh, it's a different country. They have a prime minister. They don't have a president, but it's actually just totally set up by the U.S. government. And I mean, it's pretty easy to set up like a new media, just like a media in Canada where some of the people have like these kind of funny French accents, and so then it even seems more like it's a different country. But yeah, I think it's just part of the U.S. Looks the same to me. Anyway, it's a nice city. I like it. Nice day for walking around. People are friendly. First, I just wanted to show you the money. Like, check this out. Now, the first thing that jumps out at you is that, like, this money just does not look like real money. It totally looks like play money. So I think that these are actually basically like tokens. And then I learned that there are these places you can go to where you can exchange this for real, like American dollars. So that's kind of like exchanging your tokens for like real money. And there's one just totally obvious, stunning little clue here, which is, check this out. I mean, I don't know like a lot about the world, but one thing I do know is that lady there is the Queen of England. I mean, they totally got that wrong. Like, England is definitely a different country from like America or this supposed Canada thing. So I think they just kind of screwed up on that with their play money scam here. Obviously something weird going on here. But then one other little thing that I learned is that apparently the drinking age here is 18 or 19 or something. And I think that's why they're nicer here. It makes perfect sense because they get to start drinking earlier. So I think that's just another way that they sort of came up with a part of their plan for kind of placating the people of this region of the U.S. is to give them throw them a bone sort of and say, okay, well, you can start drinking earlier at least. So but I'm onto it. They can't pull anything over my eyes. All right, I think I'm finally tracking things down here and figuring out what's actually going on here. So I just bought an ice cream. Check it out, Klondike bar. This thing was $3.50. I mean, this should be like 69 cents or something. So I think the deal is that basically this is just a money-making scam by the U.S. government, that they've set up this whole separate region of the U.S., and then called it a different country and everything. and then they're just overcharging people like crazy, and then you exchange that money back into the US dollar. It's totally in their favor, because it might seem like it's play money here, but then if you can change it into real American dollars for like almost the same amount, then you've made that's like a 600% profit. Check it out. So I'm not necessarily like opposed. I mean, if it's good for the US, then cool. I mean, things look nice here. It's pretty and pleasant and everything. So I guess it's all working out. As long as nobody really, gets onto the scam, then it's all fine. So, whatever. I mean, I'll just soak it up while I'm here, despite totally getting ripped off on this ice cream. Oh well. Thinking about this whole thing, and I think I finally put the puzzle pieces together here. So I realized that the reason that I know that England is a separate country from the United States is because of stuff I learned in school. And so there was actually a war between England and the United States, in which the United States gained its independence, and that was in the 70s. I guess it was around 76, and I was born a couple years before that, so I guess that's why I don't remember it, because I was too young. But I think the deal with Canada is kind of the same thing with England and the United States, but instead of making it totally obvious that they're being owned by the United States, we learned our lesson from that revolution against England, and so we figured we're going to do something a little bit different, and we'll set up this whole thing and make it look like it's a different country, and then they won't have anything to get riled up about, because I mean, look at how pretty it is. Nice park, everyone just sort of walking around completely oblivious to what's really going on here. People have jobs. And so I was a little bit concerned, well, what if I put this video on YouTube and that could expose some sensitive information and totally mess up the whole deal? But I'm sure there's probably a YouTube blackout through here. I've heard about that in other countries. They probably just have this separate internet thing that is all self-contained. Like that Jim Carrey movie where he grows up on that movie set and he thinks that's the real world. I think Canada is kind of like that. It's all fake. It's all just a setup. They have play money. People are just making everything look really nice and really pleasant and perfect and everything, just so that nobody has anything to complain about. And so, what's the problem really? It's working out for everybody. And then if the U.S. is making a good profit off of things, then it's kind of a win-win. So, what the heck, I'm for it. It's a pretty good deal, really. This is a pretty park.